Welcome to Love You Bro Podcast. I am Jude Davella. This is my baby brother, Jamie Davella.
What it do?
Got a great show for you coming up today. Talking a little bit about the Chiefs breakdown of the schedule. But first, my brother's going to tell you where you can find us on social media.
Be sure to listen wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Follow us on X, Twitter, and TikTok. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page and hit that like button. That helps us. So hit that thing. Get some more viewers out here. We got a lot of fun stuff going on. A lot of really, really fun, cool, big guests lined up coming up. We won't reveal who quite yet, but I promise they're big and it'll be cool to have them on. So
I'm telling you, follow us on our YouTube channel, and check us out on our social media on all of our sites that Jamie just talked about right now. The guest list we have coming up this summer is going to be. It's going to be off the hook, bro. We got some cool people coming on. So we're super excited about it. Super excited today to talk about our show. Let's thank our sponsors. We have a great sponsor, a great friend of ours from Proactive Solutions. It is a top woman-owned and run business, delivers infrastructure solutions and IT architecture design and consultation services to clients from startups to future 100 companies. So thank you to our people and our friends over at Proactive Solutions.
Absolutely.
Thanks to those guys.
Thank you very much.
And then we also want to thank Primetime Transportation, which we're a little part of that, huh?
Absolutely.
Primetime Transportation. You can reach us at 913-484-1234 or primetimeassistant.com. Start booking your vehicles, man. We've got Suburbans, we've got sedans, we've got Sprinters. Yazoo's coming up. The Royals season is getting hot. Those guys are heating up over there.
Playing a little baseball.
Yeah, we got Sporting KC Current, which we know the parking situation out there. So maybe you want to take a car and get dropped off out there, or just get out to some of these concerts that are happening this summer. So definitely get a hold of us at Primetime Transportation. Get your stuff set up. And you're going to want to start getting your cars and your buses booked, because what we're getting ready to talk about next is the schedule drop and release. Some of these Monday night games, some of these Sunday night games. We're going to get after it right now, and we're going to talk about the primetime games, and then we're going to dive right into what the season is. Make sure you guys get your tickets and get all set up, man, because I know these boys are looking for a three-peat. They're hard at work right now during their phase 3 of off-season workouts.
Started, right? Phase 3?
Phase 3, man. Phase 3 just started. So it looks like right now, bro, we've got 5 primetime games. We've got that Ravens game on Thursday night to kick the season off. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. You definitely want to get out there to watch the another banner drop, little back-to-back action, and watch that drop. We're going to follow up with Saints game on a Monday night. Then we've got the Bucks game on a Monday night. The Chargers will be a Sunday night game. That Texans game, man, which we were talking about trying to figure out when that was going to be done. That's going to drop on that Saturday before Christmas.
They loaded up.
Yep. And then you've got that Steelers game. We got the standalone game, the Raiders game. But how about that? Black Friday, we can bring the Raiders into Arrowhead.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to break down, but the fact that, like, one of the biggest things is the only day they don't play of the week is Tuesday.
Is that crazy?
That's unheard of. That's unheard of.
Let's talk before we dive into the games. I'm going to dive into the Ravens game, and I know we're going to take our turns going through all these games and going down and getting our takes on these things. But one thing I want to say, and I'm hoping anybody from the NFL or anybody's listening, which you're probably not because it's our podcast, but I'm telling you right now, I'm so over, bro. I'm so over hearing about player safety, and we're worried about the players and their families and their people, and player safety. Don't tell me no more of that shit, man. I don't want to hear it no more. You're making the Chiefs plus 3 other teams play 3 games in 10 days. And Chiefs, we got to go on the road for 2 of them. I think we're the only one out of the 4 teams that goes on the road for 2 of those games.
Yeah.
So how are you telling me you're trying to protect the players when you got guys playing? I know, bro, we've been around this for a long time, right? We've been doing stuff with the players for the last 20 years. How many times have guys told you, a Jamal Charles, a Derrick Johnson, a Brandon Flowers, and talk about when we play on Sunday, our bodies don't start feeling normal until maybe Thursday, Friday. Saturday, you're kind of feeling like you're ready to go, and then Sunday, you're like, boom, game day again.
No, it's brutal. I mean, it's absolutely brutal, and it's like our man Mangino said up in Lawrence, it's dollar signs. I mean, that's what it is, and they just it's I said I get it to a certain extent, but then I mean, it's not putting the players first, and it's not putting their safety first, because there's no way you could ask these guys who literally feel like they've been in a car wreck after a game, and you try to make them play 3 of those in 10 days. It's brutal. And I thought, and once again, before getting into it, just in the NFL, I know people say that, they love us, they this and that, but they did us 0 favors. And essentially what they're telling me in doing this is, if you want a 3-peat, you're going to absolutely have to earn it. That's like, it's the brutal part of it, but having to buy in week 6 sucks. That's bullshit. That's like week 6. That's like,
and remember last year we talked a lot like during the season, and you brought it up because you're that guy that you listen to every show out there. You listen to all the shows, you listen to all the stuff. You and I are talking about this stuff, but we talked last year and you brought it up early on and you were like, bro, have you even noticed, like, as we go down the stretch, we have a shorter time frame of when our next game is than anybody in NFL history. Like the last 7-8 weeks of the season, everybody had more rest than us. And it was like they were saying, okay, if you're going to go repeat and you're going to go do back-to-back championships, you're going to have to go through another gauntlet. We're going to make it a little bit tougher on you, and let's see what you can do. And not only do they go back and repeat, but people were saying they don't have any receivers. There's nobody catching the ball from Mahomes. This is what's going on here.
It's true, though. That wasn't anything that was. When that was being said, it was. It was kind of true. There was no one.
No, right. But when you talked about, I said how we had less rest, all the things that we had stacked up against us last year, there was nothing telling us that we were going to go and win another Super Bowl last year. No, and the funny thing is that they are the most hated. Like they're the most hated team, which I get. Because obviously, like I wasn't a huge Patriots fan. Like I always loved Brady, but I wasn't a huge Patriots fan. And everyone would say they're so tired of New England. They're so tired of Gronk. They're so tired of, and that shit was happening and going on obviously before this, before our run here. Right. But I get it. And it's just kind of, I kind of like being that person. Yeah. I kind of like being that person. Like, absolutely. You can hate us all you want. And this team's gearing up for us. And it's like, you're going to get everyone's best shot. But the schedule makers did us 0 favors. And it's a brutal schedule. Once again, they did a 0 schedule, or 0 favors. But when I sit there and look, and when we went back and we watched the draft, I wondered in my head, like, oh my God, these teams, every city he goes to, Goodell gets booed. Well, now let me just tell you, Commissioner, now from watching what you've done and making people play a Christmas game on a Wednesday during the middle of the week after they've got to play on Saturday. Now I'm with all these people in all the drafts, and I definitely just want to boo Goodell because that sucks. You are not worried about player safety. Stop with the player safety shit. Just tell me it's all about the dollars. That's all that matters. How many more dollars the NFL can make, how many more dollars the owners and stuff can make. But I don't even think the owners are happy with the way the schedule is. But you know what? We could go on this for all day long, and I'd be pissed at Goodell, pissed the way they set this up. But you know what? How sweet will it be at the end of the season? We go and do a 3-peat, bro. Something nobody else has ever done.
It's never been done. And it's stacked up against us. And it's going to be extremely, extremely tough to pull off. You're going to talk about being healthy and staying healthy and keeping, 15 upright for as long, and not missing any time or significant time and just getting through it. The bottom line is they can do it. They can do it. Looking at the odds maker shit, San Francisco is picked to win every game that they play this year.
San Francisco. They're favorite team to beat the Super Bowl.
Their favorite team.
I hear you.
But no, it's going to be fun, and let's kind of get into it and give our what's your thoughts
takes
on
what the season's going to be.
And before I even looking at your shit, you got a 16-0, or 17-0. I guarantee it. Maybe the closest game, maybe 10 points?
Sitting here looking, I don't think maybe we lose maybe 1, maybe 2 games. I don't know. Maybe.
Of course. Yes, I know.
But, with that being said, because you always said I'm a homer, that I put us at 17-0, because I'm sure I don't want to go look at your stuff over there, because I'm sure you've got us at 4-13. Can't beat the Niners on the road. Can't beat.
Probably won't beat the Niners.
Probably won't beat the Ravens. Probably won't beat them. So before we get started, I know what yours says over there is 8-9 or 6-10. I can only imagine what that is over there.
Put it this way: there'll be a lot of phone calls because I have to catch your ass on Friday because you won't answer on Saturday. I'm just telling you now.
Cool. But here's the deal, though. At the end of the season, when we have the 3-peat and you're at my house again, and I got another cigar, I want you to just be like, damn, brother, you're right. There's 3 years in a row you've called us winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, shit, you called his last 10 years winning, so you finally.
Right. So I'm 3-7.
Everyone gets lucky. But anyway, let's get into it.
Listen, hold on. Before we get into that, one thing, don't you think the most important part of this season, as we talk every year, For them to have a chance to go back and do a three-peat, isn't the most important part them staying healthy?
Of course. I think that goes with any of the big boys. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people on the Jets, and the Jets are dirty. Like they are but it's all about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been healthy but if he's healthy and that defense and the weapons they already have, and the guys they went and brought a couple more in. I mean, that's a problem. That's a situation. You know, and that's why they're on 6 times and like on Monday or Sunday night. And that's a team that, like, once again, didn't make the playoffs last year. Had trash ass Zach Wilson, whatever his name is. He was just trying to look at his mom. That's why he was on TV as much as he was last year. But no, I mean, you know, but yeah, if they stay healthy, they'll have every opportunity. You know,
it's all about 1587 staying healthy. Isn't
yes,
it?
absolutely.
Our boy TK.
Yep.
And
he was having a good time at Kelsey Jam.
I was gonna say hats off to him and Kelsey Jam, man.
Yeah.
I had a chance to. I was texting back and forth with a couple of his guys today. Shout out to those guys, what they did with Kelsey Jam, another sold out show, and those
guys getting better. I mean, it's the second year, but it looked a lot better than it was first year.
Weather was great, and they killed it and had a lot of fun. So hats off to TK for all the stuff he's doing off the field. But 87, we need you healthy with 15 this year if we have any chance to three-peat. Let's dive into it, bro. Week 1, Thursday night football. We dropped the banner, and the Baltimore Ravens come to town. What do you think?
I mean, you know, it's a big boy matchup right out of the gates. I mean, you know, to me, Baltimore probably took a little bigger hit than they wanted to.
For sure.
They took a little bigger hit than they wanted to, but I mean, they still got guys, and they still got, you know, they still got a lot of talent. They still got Lamar. I mean, Lamar's Lamar, and Lamar, I mean, he's 98 percentile. I mean, Lamar is a real one. They're gonna come. And, you know, once again, I was just talking to a buddy of mine, and we were like talking about how close that Ravens game was.
Of course.
I mean, it was so close. But, you know, and I've gone back and watched it like 3 or 4 times, you know, 5 or 6, who knows? That's a stupid shit I do. But like, I was watching in, like, you know, that huge play that Flowers makes where he stands over Snead. That's a big penalty.
Huge penalty.
That's a huge penalty. And then, of course, Snead's, you know, I'm gonna miss 38. But him knocking the ball at the goal line, I mean, those games, it's so different. So a lot of those guys from Baltimore, though, they're like, you know, they're gonna come in. And for them, it sets their season and it sets their season trajectory. If they come in and beat us in our house on banner night, that's a huge W and puts us in to must win to a Bengals team that I think personally got better than the Ravens did this offseason.
I think that too with that Ravens game. I sit there and look at that Ravens game, and I was looking at their roster and stuff. They lost 14 people. You go and look at some of the guys. You know, they lose to Patrick Queen, the linebacker that they lost over. He went to the Steelers, correct?
Yep.
He went over to Pittsburgh. But when you go look at that, you look at Baltimore's. You got to keep Lamar up. You got to keep their offense rolling. They lost 3 interior linemen. So you lose 3 interior linemen, 3 starters. That'd be like us losing Creed Humphrey, losing Trey Smith, and losing Tooney, and being like, okay, we got to replace our 3 interior linemen. And then, by the way, you know, our middle linebacker, you know, Nick Bolton's gone too.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people to replace. I know Harbaugh's a stud. I know Lamar's great. The Ravens are going to come in. They're going to come in locked and loaded. But you remember last year, they tried to out-hit us and out-tough us, and we went in their house, punched them in the mouth, and punched our tickets in our Super Bowl.
And kept our composure. And I think that, you know, what the NFL, I think, may have gotten wrong with that is, for me, and being that, like, opening night, it very well may be a 14-12, 10-9 kind of game.
Could be.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're expecting fireworks. I mean, it could be. But I think with those defenses, and like I said, those defenses, I think it might be, I mean, it might be a rock fight that it's like, it's really ugly and just kind of, you know, feeling each other out. And it's like, you know, not wanting to give up the big plays and but there's a lot of underlying. And what I love is, I would love to see, and you know, he wants to get loose, as Hollywood get loose.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to see Hollywood get loose under the lights and be like, okay.
For sure. I'm telling you right now, bro, you think this game is going to be close. I don't think it's going to be close. And the only reason I don't think is because all the guys that Baltimore lost. I think Mahomes comes in with Worthy. He comes in with Hollywood. Maybe Rashid's there, maybe he's not. But I think
Rashid will be there. He'll be there.
I think coming in that Thursday, I'm going to go ahead and mark us down with that win, that 1-0 start. I don't know where you got us, but I got us 1-0 start, which takes us in that next game.
Yeah, in Cincinnati, and I mean once again. the NFL wanted to make sure that, because Burrow's been injured last, it was a couple years now.
Yeah,
he's been injured.
No, he was hurt last year. He was hurt last year.
But they want to make sure he's that matchup. They have that matchup, and that matchup. I mean, Burrow, Mahomes, and to me, Burrow he's one of the swaggiest dudes in the league. Like I like Burrow. Like I loved him at LSU. I loved him at LSU. I like how he carries himself. I like him. And then, a lot depends for them with the T. Higgins thing and how much of a fucking pain in the ass is he going to be?
Yeah.
Because he's a guy that could sit out.
He could sit.
And he's a knucklehead that will be like, I'll come back week 8.
Yeah.
Week 8, which means he won't be ready till,
Right.
and that's a very real possibility with him.
Right.
But I mean, it wouldn't do him any good, wouldn't do the Bengals any good because they have a chance this year if they're healthy to go.
Yeah.
I mean, to go make a run with the healthy Burrow and Higgins can go get paid. If he goes and balls out and he goes and has a monster year and he puts up 1,400 yards. But I mean, they had a great draft and he went 18th overall. But it's the tackle Amarius Mims from Georgia,
Right. Yep.
and so he's essentially solidifies their right side for years to come, and he is a force. He's a dominant force.
And Orlando Brown still on the left side.
Yep, he'll still be on the left side. Yeah,
And we'll still be able to get around him. We'll still be able to get around him.
Yes, absolutely, and that's once again that's the thing on Burrow. Like they haven't been able to protect him, so if we get after him and stuff, but it's going to be a big time game.
So,
go ahead.
So I'm sorry about my bad. Let me ask you a question. So are you going to be okay if we beat Cincinnati and I'm in the parking lot E and I get to is it too early for me to smoke a Burrow cigar?
Yeah, you ain't doing that.
But why not?
No, you're not doing that.
Listen, I still have a hard time with Burrow.
I'll give you a Parliament Light and you'll be fine.
No, listen, I have a hard time with Burrow because of all the cigars and the coats and all the stuff and the guys yelling Burrowhead before they came in.
No, but he wasn't.
He wasn't, but he wasn't shying away from it though. He was smoking a cigar in Buffalo. He wasn't shying away from it.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to think week 2, we're going to go 2-0, and Jude's going to be smoking a cigar in parking lot E. Burrow, sorry, pal, smoking another one of those cigars at Arrowhead, Mahomes' home. Sorry, bro. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
No, that's good, man. That's good. So I think Cincinnati had they had a big time draft, and that's what they got in the second round. They got the big defense tackle Chris Jenkins from Michigan.
Yes.
And then the third round pick was a kid I really, really liked. It was the kid Jermaine Burton from Alabama. And he is one of the best vertical threats in the draft. And that boy tracks the ball.
Yeah.
They did well. And then they got another defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. So they had a really good draft, which a lot like ours, I bet 5 or 6 of those kids are contributing day one to a team that was already pretty stacked and pretty loaded. Right. And then in free agency, they did some things in free agency, which they brought in Zach Moss.
Right.
So Zach Moss to take, Mixon. Mixon did a great job. Now Mixon, he went to the Texans, and we'll talk about them to make that offense pretty prolific. Of
course.
But they went and got Zach Moss. They went and got Geno Stone, who's one of the guys you're talking about from Baltimore as a safety.
Yep.
And then they brought Von Bell back that they lost 2 years ago to Carolina. So they solidified things and did some things and know that this is kind of their last run, because even if Higgins signs, he signs his franchise or his tag, which means he's a 1-year deal. Well, next year Chase is up, so they're not signing Trace and Higgins and then Hendrickson, the defensive lineman, who's a bad boy.
But Burrow hasn't been paid yet, has he?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I should know that, but I don't think so.
I don't think Burrow's been paid yet.
So no, they're not going to be able to do that.
Out of those first 2 games, when I look at them, honestly, bro, I'm being serious. I think to me, I think we beat Baltimore. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. We're going to blow them out, but I think we have an easier time beating Baltimore. I think that Cincy game is going to be a mother.
Yeah, I do too. I do, and I'm with you there. The more I look at it, I think it's going to be. Yeah, I think that those two, I think we're going to have a more difficult time with Cincinnati than
I think it's going to be a 31-28, 27-24 game with Cincinnati. Yeah, the Ravens thing, I think we have a little bit more leeway. I just think they lost too many pieces. Let's move on to their first road game, going to Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta, baby.
Yeah, going to see the Falcons, and that's the first time we've been there in a while. But I mean, you and I talked earlier about them drafting, Michael Penix Jr. from LSU. But you and I both said it's a little bit like the situation when the Chiefs drafted Mahomes, and he had somebody like Alex Smith to sit behind, because Kirk Cousins is that guy. I don't know him personally, but I think from the stuff I've seen him, I think he's going to bring Penix Jr. He's going to be that guy that's teaching him the whole time, like Alex did, because it could very well be that Kirk could be out the next year.
Yeah, and I forgot what his contract is, but he signed a huge deal. And the thing about it is, a lot of people, they get on social media and they talk shit and they talked about how horrible it was. But the bottom line is, and no, I don't know Cousins, but his personality, he's fucking hilarious. He's really funny, and like watching him from the Netflix thing, he's a guy that gets it.
Yep.
And when he came out and said, no offense taken. I mean, that's a kid that has, that could next year just dethrone him and be the guy with the weapons they have in Atlanta. But I think Atlanta, once again, Atlanta, offensively out wide, they got some dogs. I mean, they got some guys that are a problem.
Jeez,
I mean, from Drake London to Pitts to what's his name, the running back from Texas.
Bijan Robinson.
I mean, yes.
Robinson.
I mean, they've got some guys.
Yeah, the Falcons. I don't know defensively if they can stop us, but offensively, they got some kids on the outside.
It'll be fun. And Atlanta's cool. Like Atlanta's a football. I mean, football town. That'll be a fun place to be.
Yeah.
Fun place to be in the Sunday. But that's a game that once again they should win. I would imagine.
Okay, so through just the first 3 weeks, what would you have us at through the first 3 weeks?
0-3.
Of course. I shouldn't even ask.
I don't know. But listen, 0-3 with the chance the next week go 1-4.
Yeah, and this is exactly why we probably won't talk till week 4 until I know we're at least 3-1 by then.
I'm just saying. I mean,
if they're 2-1 going into week 4, I'd be okay with that.
Sure,
but I don't know. I think we beat Atlanta. I think we win those first 3. Like I said, I think Cincinnati's probably the closest game that we're going to have. The Falcons, they'll give us the run, but I don't think defensively they'll be able to stop us offensively.
No, that's just it. If we're humming offensively, I think that we hang up too many points on it.
Okay, so let's get to the end of the first quarter of the season. What do you think things look like going into SoFi Stadium and playing the Chargers?
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Always is.
I mean, Harbaugh. I mean, that guy. He scares me. I mean, that's a guy that can coach. Him and his brother have all been able to coach. And it's one of those things I kind of relate it to when Jimmy Johnson came from, the U, right?
The U.
When he came from the U, he had been in college for as long as he had and just was dialed into all these dudes that some people might not, like an Alvin Harper, that some people might think was a fringe, like that's a reach at that, but he knew Alvin Harper could play.
Right.
I mean, when he went out and started drafting guys, he started getting guys, and that was all. And that was what really sucked about back then, is because those guys, they drafted. And that's when they got into, like, you can't keep your own guys.
Of course.
And you can't pay them more money. But through that Herschel Walker deal, he knew all the guys. And he knew, like, this guy, I know I recruited him. I know what kind of family he comes from. And Harbaugh is that guy. He is, I mean, he really gets into it. And I think that if anyone can get everything out of Herbert, he will. And, they lost some people because salary cap, but I think he's going to be one that replenishes that cabinet faster than a lot of people would, just with his connection to college.
With that being said, I don't think the NFL did us any favors. They gave us both the Harbaugh brothers in the first 4 weeks, man. And both those guys are dogs in the coaching ranks.
So, I mean, for sure. I mean, they're great. And their father was great. They're just great coaches. Yep. And, they lost some guys, they lost Eckler, they lost Mike Williams. They lost
Keenan Allen.
Yes.
To the Bears.
Yep. Keenan Allen.
Over there with our boy, Ryan Poles, man.
Yep. Poles.
He's doing some big stuff in Chicago, man. We'll get a chance one time to talk a little bit about not on the schedule, but on talk a little bit about the Bears and what Poles has done over there, man. He's doing some big things.
That's a lot of fun. But they brought in J.K. Dobbins, who's a guy I wanted to see Kansas City go after.
I thought the Chiefs were going to get him.
He was here. He was here for whatever reason. Because he was in for a visit. It was but they got Dobbins and they got another guy. I was interested in DJ Shark. That'll be a nice guy. He has a nice speed dimension to him. And they brought back Denzel Perryman, who was he was nasty last year for the Texans in the middle. Yep. They brought him back home, so he came back home. And then they signed Gus Edwards too. So they went and got 2 Ravens guys.
From the Ravens.
Yeah, so they went and got 2 Ravens. Because Harbaugh is going to want to run the football.
Of
course.
I don't
know how if he's going to have to change up his thought process or how his ideas, because I don't know if you'll be able to do that consistently in the NFL and win, how open it is.
Right.
But he's gonna do his best. And if he does get a lead, he's gonna pound and with that offense line, the tackles that he got, in the draft, and then who we had from last year, they'll bludgeon you to death. So I think the Chargers it'll be interesting. The Chargers, they've always played us tough and we always play them. Like through the first quarter of the season, through those first 4 games, what would make you happy? What would you be okay with? What would
kind of piss you off out of this through the first four?
I think 3-1 is realistic.
Realistic?
Yeah, I think 3-1 is realistic. I think 2-2. Once again, we showed this team might lose some games, and I think this team that we have, depending on health, you might be able to rest some. Not give as many Kelsey as many reps with who has a tight end room.
But don't you think that? But looking at the schedule, this is something you and I talked about earlier. Just when we talk. Doesn't the first part of the schedule looks a lot tougher than the back end, doesn't it? Although we've got those 3 and 10 games, which again sucks.
I think the back end to me.
The back end's tougher.
I do. I think so. Absolutely.
Oh, bro, I don't. Well, we'll get more into that. We'll get more into that.
Me personally, yeah.
Week 5, we've got the Saints. Another Monday night game. I mean, there's nothing better than Arrowhead on a Monday night, bro. Nothing better than Monday night.
Yeah, and I like Sunday nights better. I think Monday nights kind of lost its luster, but to me, it wasn't the same as when you had you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when Howard Cosell was there?
The Monday night crew, but Monday night used to just be a lot it was a big deal. Yeah, it was a really big deal.
But now when you've got Wednesday football, Christmas Day football, you got Thursday night football, you've got now
and Sunday night. Sunday night is the production. Sunday night is always to me. It's that's the highlight.
And NBC does a good job of that.
Yeah, they do a bang up job.
Does a good job.
But it'll be let's say it'll be fun. But yeah, any night game at Arrowhead.
Who's coming home? One of my favorites, Tyrann Mathieu. One of my favorites.
Badger.
Tyrann Mathieu coming to town. What a great dude. Him and Sydney, just great people and their kids, man.
Incredible.
Great people on and off the field, man. I've had a little chance to work with Tyrann and his family.
Yeah.
Just great people.
And what he brought to that team, and his first year here, he was a monster. Oh man,
him and Frank Clark,
the Shark. That's 2 of my favorites in the last.
I'm going to go and spill a little bit. So Frank's going to be on a future show,
yeah.
And I'm going to ask Frank to talk a little bit about that Tennessee Titan game and how Tyrann Mathieu got him fired up, kind of during that game and some stuff that went on. But Frank will tell us some great stuff about that.
I can't wait to have Frank on.
Yeah.
Frank. yes.
I'm
not gonna have someone drive me home after Frank be here.
He's a real one, bro. Frank's a real one. But him and Tyrann are tight. They brought a lot to that 54 team. So we'll welcome Tyrann Mathieu that Monday night. That's gonna be a fun one. A little bit about us going to the rematch of the Super Bowl. How do you feel about going to San Francisco?
L.
Well, you can't.
L.
I would accept an L. I would accept an L.
But interesting about that, Tom Brady's calling that game.
Tom Brady's calling the Chiefs-Niners game?
Yes, that was announced a couple days ago. Yeah,
Lord.
Yeah.
Just as long as what's her name? The girl from the roast.
Oh, come on now.
No, what's her name though? I forget.
She just came on and said she's a huge Chiefs fan, and she's on.
Nikki Glaser. If Nikki Glaser was around, I'd probably go to San Francisco to go see that.
But she said she's coming to Kansas City. She was on with Kay Adams. Nikki Glacier was.
Kay Adams. That's one of my faves.
Yeah.
But she's one of my faves. She's a Midwest girl. She's a Mizzou.
Well,
she went to Mizzou.
Her niece is Chiefs through and through.
Yes.
But yes, she said that she is a Chiefs fan. She's always wanted to follow a team because of T.
Yes.
Because of Tay. So she is
I love it. And hats off to what Kay Adams has done from coming from Good Morning Football and doing her show, her Up and Adams show.
She's amazing.
Recently I saw one of her clips and she was like, I don't think there's a flaw in this Kansas City Chiefs team. Can you find one? So love me some Kay Adams.
It'll be fun. But that'll be a big time game though. End of March. End of October. But that'll be a lot of fun. Yep. And we'll see what happens.
And then at the Raiders soon. What do you think about at that Raiders game early?
Raiders scare me.
They should. They beat us here in Kansas City last year.
Raiders scare me.
They beat us at home last year.
You know what's crazy? If the Raiders would have got Penix, I would have been like, oh.
Who is their quarterback right now? Some kid out of Grandview, O'Hara?
Ken Stabler.
A
snake coming back.
They might as well have got some kid.
Jay Schrader.
Who was their quarterback? Seriously. I don't know.
Is it Minshew? Yeah, Minshew.
No, who's the guy who played against last year? He played really well against us.
But I think Minshew is going to be.
Minshew's going to be starter.
I think they'll be up for a fight. But I think Minshew's just a guy everyone likes, and he's a Raider, man, with that handlebar mustache he's got. And that mullet coming out of his helmet. That'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, the Raiders scare me. So but the fact that we got to come home after that and then go back out.
But at the Niners and at the Raiders, those aren't any easy games.
Yes, no, it's not.
Those are not any easy games at all. That bye week 6, way too early, man. Way too early for that bye week.
Absolutely,
way too early.
Absolutely, I hate that. So that's bullshit.
Yeah. That kind of sucks. So let's go next into our the Monday night game with Tampa Bay, bro. That goes and starts week 9 against the Bucks. ESPN Monday Night Football. What are we thinking there with the Bucks?
That'll be a fun game, man.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun game. I mean, last year, Baker, and I've always liked Baker.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always liked Baker. I think Baker, and he kind of, he felt wanted and he felt it. I mean, he's got weapons and he went out and performed last year. So I think, and once again, like, all this stuff like picking shit, no one knows anything until you get into it. There's been so many times before that, like, oh my God, it's really tough. And then people get hurt and it's not as tough as it is.
Yeah, because it goes back to the whole health thing we talked about.
It'll just be fun because Tampa, I don't know when the last time Tampa was here. So I like to see new teams.
Yeah, the Bucks haven't played here for a while. I
can't remember when the last time they were here.
And when we played them in the Super Bowl in '55, when they killed it, they beat us. Remember, we blew them out that year in Tampa. So they haven't been here for a while. They haven't been here for a minute.
Yeah, so it's just cool to get new teams like that in here. And I'm sure they'll have a decent fan base that follow them. They're like, we got to go to Arrowhead.
Yep.
We got to go to Arrowhead and see that and see what that building's all about. So I think once again it'll be a good game and there'll be it's fun Monday night. But
that's crazy. Looking at the Chiefs' first home game, the first 4 that we looked at. Ravens Thursday night, and then you've got the Saints on Monday night, and then Bucks Monday night. You get that Cincy the afternoon game, but that's pretty cool though.
Falcons Sunday night at the Falcons.
Yeah, 3 of those first 4, and then you get the one road. But as far as at home, the first 4 home games. You got 3, national TV. Monday, and then Thursday night, and then we go right into playing the Broncos for the first time without Russell Wilson.
Trash. I mean, trash.
I hope so. They beat us one time last year, bro. Russell Wilson beat us last year.
Trash, though. I mean,
listen, I thought you were going to jump in front of a train. We lost the Broncos last year.
Bo Nix, I like the kid, but no, he's not the guy. I mean, I'll be surprised. And like Cortland Sutton once out of there. I don't know. I think they're going to be bad for a while. Yeah. And they sold their souls for the Russell Wilson deal and the money that they still owe him. They ate a lot of it this year, but I mean, still, they're kind of fucked for a few years.
Oof, bro, they gave him a ton of money.
But I think, you know what? I think he's going to be decent in Pittsburgh. I think
he probably will. I mean, with Tom and those guys over there, I'm sure
I think he'll be. I think he'll be. But I mean, he couldn't do it with Peyton, which I mean.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, that was just one of those things where you were trying to put like a round peg in a square hole. Like it just wasn't. Those guys just weren't meant to be together, and you could just tell. They never looked comfortable. Like they're both in sync. And, I mean, listen. Russell's got a Super Bowl, bro. He's got a Super Bowl. He's got a ring. So a lot of QBs can't say that, but yeah,
he never has a ring if they run the football.
Yeah, true. So you hope we get by. You hope we get by the Buccaneers there.
Patriots run the football.
You hope we get by the Buccaneers there in week 9, and then week 10 at Denver, and then the next week 11, we go back to our old the rematch, which they were begging to have us for years. Bills Mafia wanted us in their backyard, and they got us during the divisional game. Another game you said last year we weren't going to get by the divisional game.
Man, but I was like, there's no way we're winning up there. Like I was like, those dudes, like, no, 100%. I'm like, God, that's asking a lot, man.
So
to go up there.
Again, we look at this Bills team. Tell me like your thoughts on the Bills and all the people that they had to kind of go dismantle that team that they had geared up for and went and got a lot of those players to beat the Chiefs. I mean, that's what they were doing. They were gearing up because they're like, we got to get over that hump. The Chiefs is that hump that we have to get over. So what are your thoughts on all the people they lost and what that game will be like when we travel to Buffalo next year?
Yeah, and I think they kind of mixed it up and they kind of tore that receiver room down and they kind of rebuilt it and but I tell you what, I love Keon Coleman. And there was a guy that the Chiefs were in. I think he's going to be a guy that he's not explosive athletically, but I think he's just a smart kid, and I think he'll be one of his favorite Josh's favorite targets. But how about that shit he was saying about when he was about golfing? That was some funny shit. He's just a really funny dude. Yeah. He's really funny. So I think Buffalo.
But what did he say? He said what do you like to do in your off days? Or he goes, I like to golf. What did he say? He said something about Tiger.
He goes, but I'm Tiger. I wish I was.
Yeah. Tiger. I wish I would hit the ball like that.
Yeah. So no, he's hilarious, man. I've enjoyed him. But I think Buffalo will be Buffalo, man. I think that they're not gonna lay down in the East, and the East gonna be tough. I mean, the East gonna be tough with, like I said, with the Jets and stuff. But that'll be a tough one. And going up there mid-November, that's a weekend before Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
Weekend before Thanksgiving. No, that's not, because Thanksgiving's late this year.
If you listen to what social media says out there, and you listen to all that, they say that the NFL kind of did their schedule and they did it around.
Tay-Tay's going to be in Canada.
Because they did it around
Yeah.
Tay-Tay and saying that she was going to be able to make the Ravens game and the Bengals game. And that up there, she's up in Toronto, right? And that like that week they play. And then she doesn't have any shows on that Sunday when the Chiefs play at the Bills. So maybe another.
I want her back up there.
Maybe another Jason Kelson sighting of jumping out of the suite and drinking a beer.
I wish. How epic was that, man? That whole shit, that whole like how he explained it and how he was explaining it, or was telling, she's like, Jason, please don't do that. Please don't. And it was like one of the first times they met Taylor, you know, like in person. And he had a ball, but he was like, he was taking those shots out of the bowling ball and shit. Like he just had a time of his life.
He said he always wanted to go, he wanted to, the stuff that we saw on social media was saying that Jason was like, I want to walk through the parking lot and I want to see all of Bill's Mafia. I want to jump on a table. I want to do this. I want to break a table and do
that. Was awesome. But yeah, that'll be once again, and that's, you know, once again, you can say all you want now, but you won't know till you get closer to it and how they're playing, who's playing. But I mean, it's just, that'll be a fun game in November. It'll be cold. It'll be cold. It'll be fun. And, you know,
and then we move on from there and we go see the Carolina Panthers, which,
God, they're god awful.
Yeah, I mean, we say that, but we just hope we're healthy and we're rolling along and we can go into Carolina. But there's another place that we haven't played for a long time is in Carolina. We haven't been to Carolina for a minute.
Yeah, I can't remember same. I can't remember the last time we were there. But I mean, that's a team though that even Carson Wentz could go in and beat for you. I mean, they're bad.
Does Bryce Young have any weapons over there at all?
Yeah, I think they did a little something. But I mean, I don't know. Like last year, you could watch CJ like week one and be like, he got something. Like but I'm saying
he had a defense and some weapons around him.
Yeah, too. Absolutely. Sure. But he looked different. Like Bryce Young looks little. He just looks little back there. I mean, not Kyler Murray little, but he looks little. Yeah. And I just don't know if he'll be able to hold up.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just don't. I mean, I don't know. I think they're just kind of a ways off of doing anything. I think that's a game that you can go there and play your Chiefs C game, and you come out.
So you hope you go take care of that. Then we talked about that Thanksgiving weekend game. The Raiders coming here on Black Friday. I don't know if I like that. Raiders fans are going to run with that whole thing of they're bringing us to Kansas City on Black Friday. Like that's our day. Like I can just hear that shit already going on.
No, for sure.
You know,
that'll be something they play on, and I would too if I'm Raider Nation. Like I do the same shit. And I said the Raiders. It's kind of a team that like I don't know. If they get a quarterback, to me, I'm one of those guys. Like the NFL would be awesome if the Raiders were really, really good again, and the Chiefs and Raiders would have it knock. I don't care. Like
you can say that about any other team in the NFL, not the Raiders. See, I hope the Raiders suck forever.
I mean, I'm that way with Denver. I'm that way with Denver, but like the Raiders, those matchups. And remember in the '90s when they were full on tearing off helmets, like Greg Townsend, Howie Long.
I didn't like that shit. I love that shit.
I love it. I love it.
And we got too many friends and cousins and everybody else trying to throw up all their Raiders flags and all that stuff.
And that's fine.
They beat us one time last year. It was like they beat us here in Kansas City. All of those guys blowing up my phone and saying stuff. I'm like, you guys, okay, you got your win. But then after we got a Super Bowl, like, come over to my house and smoke a cigar and we'll talk about Super Bowl championships. We'll talk about rings.
And I'll tell you what, man, that game on Christmas Day, they kind of just smacked us.
You know what? But that was the last game we lost. That was the last game we lost.
But they kind of just smacked us.
That was the best thing that could happen to us.
When that young kid, that safety, he took it back and looked at Mahomes.
Was it a safety or was that the corner they had?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But
he broke on that ball and he looked back at Mahomes and did all that.
But then they were, and there's certain dudes, like one of my favorite players in the NFL, I absolutely fucking love is Max Crosby.
Yeah.
I love Max Crosby.
Crosby's
I love Max. And just, a dog. You know, he was in there in the locker room smoking cigars, and that was like their Super Bowl. They know they weren't going anywhere. But the Raiders, to me, like I said, but they don't have a quarterback. And that's the biggest thing. They have nice pieces and they have a nice team, but
they're scary, but they're a quarterback.
But Minshew, once again, if you line up Minshew and you're never going to take him over really good quarterbacks. Yeah. He's a nice story and he's funny and he's that guy. But no, I think it'll be fun and that's just that. But I didn't think about that. They're going to play that shit up.
Yeah, the whole Black Friday thing. You're going to have Raider Nation in there and all that stuff.
They always show out though.
The Raiders always show up for sure. So we move on from there, and then we go, and then it's like we play them on that Friday. So it's another standalone game, another national TV game, and then you're going to go the next Sunday. We have Sunday Night Football at home with the Chargers.
Which one thing will be really fun because the Chargers will be either really, really good or they'll be really, really bad.
Yeah.
And they'll play hard, but they won't be good. I mean, Harbaugh will have them playing hard, but they won't be like they won't, or they're going to be really good. It could be for the division. I mean, it could be for the division running down for that. So
yeah, we'll see where that one is. It's gonna be another fun Sunday night game. Coming off that Raiders game, like I said, the day after Thanksgiving, which will always be fun. Holiday football is always fun. All the family around, everything. So, so we move on with Raiders, and we have the Chargers. Then we go into week 15, 16, 17, which you've already heard my long 10-minute rant on how Goodell sucks and the NFL sucks and
I don't think Goodell sucks.
Dude, that's terrible. I know it's about the money, bro. But so let's go look at week 15, 16, 17, where we're going to go and we're going to line up. We're going to have to go at Cleveland.
That's a tough game.
Yeah, it's a tough game.
Cleveland's got a defense.
Dogs, man.
Cleveland has a defense, and if Deshaun, depending on what he was, but Flacco played really good football down the stretch last year.
Yes.
And they got guys. They got an offensive line. They run the ball. Yes. Chubb's coming back next year, so that's not a give me. And once again, up in Cleveland, the dog pound.
Yeah,
those fuckers are wild there too.
And they're not going to want that dude to go wild in Cleveland.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They're not going to want Kelsey to go wild. But you look, like I said, 15, 16, 17, bro. So we're at Cleveland on that. Is that a Saturday? Yeah, it's a Saturday that we're at Cleveland, right? And then we move from the at Cleveland game, which is going to be a huge game, which we wanted to talk about and really spend a lot of time on. But now I'm just like, it's in the middle of that stretch. It's in the middle of that run. But the Houston Texans come to town. And the Houston Texans come in with C.J. Stroud, but they come in with a kid that we've done a little bit of work with. Will Anderson Jr. had a special year last year, man. Will Anderson, awesome. Yeah, we got a chance. Jessica and I got a chance to, Jessica got a chance to meet him. We got a chance to see him last year at the draft when they were here. Comes from a great family in Georgia. Played high school football in Hampton. And the Dutchtown Bulldogs is the team that they play out of Hampton, Georgia. And then trained under Derek Johnson's brother, Dwight Johnson, at Total Athlete.
Dwight's my guy.
Yeah, at Total Athlete in Atlanta. So that's where Will trained. Went on to Alabama, had a great career there. Won a national championship his freshman year. And thought he was going to win more, but they didn't get a chance to. But, he was that third overall pick to the Texans. But that Texans game's going to be tough, but they're loaded.
I mean, to me, once again, it's right now, I keep referring back to about no one knows anything. You just kind of look what you know on paper, and everyone has their opinion. But I think that what nobody can deny is the Texans absolutely loaded up, and there is zero weaknesses on that team. I mean, zero weak.
Who do you think they loaded up to come get?
Well, absolutely. They didn't come up to load up to beat the Colts.
No, man. They loaded up because they were like, they knew they were coming to Kansas City at some point this year. They knew they were coming here.
But I mean, you look out and they got Tank Dell. You got Stephon Diggs. Yeah. I mean, you got the kid, Nico. Loaded. Dalton Shorts. And then they went out and got Mixon. They brought Mixon to the backfield.
The Texans are loaded, bro.
That team is absolutely scary.
So I don't know how you go and, you go and play that tough game at Cleveland. 6 days later, you're supposed to come home and play the Texans here, which, again, we talked about how the guys' bodies and the healing process and all that and getting ready for that week. Now you got to go and get ready for the Texans, which is just like a playoff game because more than likely you're going to face them a few weeks later in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, sure. And then you're going to go.
You could be playing for home field.
Right. For sure you could.
Up at that point.
And then the one that just makes me upset the most, bro, is that week 17 game. How in the world do you make these guys play? You're going to play them on Saturday here at home against Houston, and then they've got to go on the road and play the Steelers on Christmas Day. Just so the NFL
sucks.
Yeah, man. Just so the NFL can have a Christmas game on when is there 2 games?
There's 2. Next year I think they're going to move it to 3, but this year there's only 2.
Yeah, so you've got 2 games on Christmas Day, and you're going to make the Chiefs, play. I know there's 3 other teams they got to play too, but we're going to play that Saturday. Huge game against the Texans, and then Christmas Day at Pittsburgh, just so the NFL can say, we're going to put, the Chiefs, former, last year's Super Bowl champ, defending champs back to back, and now we're going to go put them against, at the Steelers. Like, I don't know. It puts a lot of pressure on your guys' health and safety. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to
have Minnie and Teddy wake up at 4 a.m, rip shit up and throw it everywhere so I can have it cleaned and ready to sit down and watch the game at noon.
That's because
if not, I'll be stepping on Legos and shit and Bluey dolls and you'll
be stepping on all the gifts that Uncle Jude and Aunt Jessica get them.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all think, but no, I wish they would at least made them the later game that night.
Yeah,
that because
they play at noon, bro.
I know
we're playing at noon.
It's a quick turnaround,
so everybody can just so everybody can have a Christmas game to go. Yay, the Chiefs are playing on Christmas. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you. I've not talked to anybody, but I guarantee those guys in the locker room are not happy about that Christmas
No,
game,
especially
bro.
away, because
On
you
the
have to
road?
get obviously they're living on Christmas Eve. You're living on Christmas Eve and just away from your family, and it's a noon game, so you don't get home till that is a bummer. And like I said, it sometimes it falls like on appropriate days, a Saturday or Sunday, which is no problem. And I think it's gonna do. But the fact that they're doing it on a Wednesday, I don't know. It's the NFL. It's the owners in on that. The owners like that money, and the owners they're not they're not saying no. They're not saying, hey, we don't want it. The owners like that money, but it is unfortunate that for families and for like fans. I mean, that's I'm just glad it's not here for the people that go. It's like that just sucks to have to leave your family or have to do that on Christmas morning or whatever. So yeah, I think that's a bummer. But once again, I don't think it's going to be an easy game. Pittsburgh will be a
no, it's not going to be an easy game. And I'm telling you right now, bro, if for our sake, if the Chiefs lose anybody health-wise or lose someone to an injury in that week 15 to 17, I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna come unglued. Because if we lose somebody, think about that. That late in the season, you lose somebody, you lose them for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and you lose them for the playoffs. I'm gonna be pissed, bro. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, that can happen whenever. But yes, that would suck, and it's just, that's just it. You might go. You can't go and play and thinking that you're going to be banged up. You just got to go and do what you got to do.
Do you think maybe we have a big enough lead on the league or
come
on
with that?
Do you think we have a big enough lead that maybe down that maybe when we go to Pittsburgh, maybe we don't need to play everybody against Pittsburgh.
No,
maybe we don't need to play against Pittsburgh.
We're not going to be that big. We're not going to be 6 games up with it's going to be
not 6 games. We're going to be 3 or 4 games up, but not play the Steelers game.
Negative Ghost Rider. That's
and then when we go at the Broncos, we may be sitting there against the Broncos.
They're trash. So who cares? That
saying.
is a game that you may. The Broncos might be a game that you might be.
That's the only thing I'm looking at Pittsburgh, at Denver. We may be resting people. We may have it all sewn up by then.
No, well, maybe, but I don't know about that. But yeah, so I think coming down to it, yes, you might by that last week. But it's look, the schedule's fun, and it'll be cool to see how it unravels. It'll be this three-peat is on. No one's ever done it. We have the team. Once again, it's about health, staying healthy.
Yeah.
But it'll be a fun ride to see how close they get and what they do. And once again, they're talking. I read something today, and I believe it's by Bleacher Report that said Kansas City, and it essentially broke down every single team and someone they could restructure.
Right.
So they said for them, and this is huge now, that they could restructure Jawan Taylor, okay, right now, of what he's supposed to get and what he could get, and he wasn't as good as they thought he was going to be this year. I am a fan that think he's going to get bigger. Get better. Excuse me.
Better.
I do. Before he came here, he was a dominant right tackle, one of the baddest right tackles in football.
Of course. Got
off to a rough start. Shit started to get in his head, and he never seemed to bounce back. But he's a bad dude.
Right.
So if you defer some of that money, it could free up $30 million in salary cap this year. This offseason.
That's huge, man.
That's huge. But you're going to be paying him on the back end of some shit that he's going to get.
Right.
That if he's not very good, that could hurt you in the long run. But if they want to go all in, then you can talk about making a deal, because there's going to be some deals to be had out there.
Yep.
That with either guys who don't want to play for a losing franchise that you can go out and make.
Right.
Or at the very least, you're going to say, okay, this money, because right now they have $15 million. I think it's like 12 to 15 million. So that, hey, you're going to go lock up Creed, you're going to lock up Trey and Bolton, or you go make a deal for someone this year, whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's on the defensive end of football, on the defensive ends, like.
But after June 1st, that's when some of the free agency stuff will, because some of the people you can sign from other teams, when it goes after June 1st, you don't have to give them like a compensatory pick.
Yeah, compensatory. Yeah, but there's, right now, like I said, there's still guys, and I've said this, I know Veach knows what he's doing, and he's the best. He's the best of the best. So it's always, what do you guys say? Trust the process. And I do, but I would like to see him add someone for insurance purposes and just another guy to the wide receiver room.
Right.
But there's a reason maybe there's a Renfro out there or Michael Thomas, but I wouldn't, and there might be someone cut at the deadline.
Right.
It's not the deadline, but when that June 1st hits that they know, and they've talked to agents around the league that they have. Of course. But it's funny because I'll call you, or I'll call our nephew, or I'll call our cousin and be like, talking about it, and like, man, I don't know. And I go, for me, you can never have enough fucking talent. I don't care if they don't make the squad or they do, but bring them in, and if you do and someone get injured, I'm all about that.
But people across the NFL have talked about with the Chiefs the last couple of years, especially last year, it was all about the depth. It was about them staying healthy and the depth that they had when somebody did go down for a while that played big, that really kind of, helped us get to that end and get hot down the stretch after that Raiders game. So in looking at the schedule, though, let's just go over. So in looking at this schedule, what do you have us at for the 2024 schedule? What do you have us at for the season?
2-15. No, I don't.
Come on, man. It's the same old shit with you, bro. No. I promise you, bro. I won't take any calls on Saturdays because I know Jessica doesn't want to listen to you go, oh, we're not going to beat this team because it's too cold. This quarterback played, and this guy. I will
pepper your voicemail.
No,
I'll be like, mailbox is full.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like I said, bro,
number has been changed.
You know what, bro? I mean, for me, once again, like just looking at it, like I said, I just not a guy to like. In a perfect world, if everyone got injured, but shit happens and changes so quick. I mean, like I said, for me, I think they have a chance if they're healthy to be, running for the three-peat. I really do. I think that, they're going to fall in some, they might lose a couple games in a row. They might, like I said, it all depends health. And for me, once again, a big thing is the left tackle situation and how that plans out. Yeah. Because the last thing you want to have is someone that, and I'm not, I'm not getting paid by the league and I'm not a GM, but I know enough and I've watched enough football to know in preseason or know what people are saying. If Wanye's not really performing and Kingsley kind of is not there yet, that's a scary situation. Yeah, we can be in trouble. That's a scary situation, but they'll have money to go and, there's still guys out there. Bakatiri's still out there. There's some guys they can go.
So listen, so this is the best part about us having our own podcast. This is the best part about the Love You Bro podcast is because now you can't go and tell me back in May or back in June, I told you this or you told me that. This is on tape, bro. Like this will be here forever, this podcast. Yeah. I want you to tell me today. Listen,
I say put it this way, but the week before the season starts, now it's pointless.
No. Listen, hold on a second. Let's say. So let's do this. Let's say, okay, for our May prediction when the schedule was dropped, let's do a prediction of what we think they're going to be at, right? Because we'll have record of it. Then we're going to go and do another prediction right before week 1 starts, do another prediction, and we'll put a little friendly wager on it. We'll put dinner at Ocean Prime. Deal? Dinner at Ocean Prime. Who calls the best record? So right now in May, just a schedule release, when we know there's still a lot of missing, not a lot, but there's some missing pieces and things. What would you just say to schedule? Just right off the top of your head right now through 17 games. What do you have them at?
11-6.
Okay, so Jamie's got 11-6. Everybody's heard that, 11-6. I've got them at 13-4 as of May. 13-4 is where I think the Chiefs finish. I think they get the number 1 seed, and I think we have a shot at going back and winning the Super Bowl. And I think this year in the Super Bowl, I'm going to make this call in May. Chiefs play the Packers in the Super Bowl this year.
Ooh,
Chiefs Packers.
I like that.
Chiefs Packers.
I like that.
Chiefs Packers in the Super Bowl this year. But listen, we had a little good take on the schedule and everything. We made a little bit of a wager, not on this prediction, but the one we do the week before the season starts. If we make any switches to this, if you're just going to stick with your 11,
I think it will. I think it will. But you kind of got to get closer to it and like the health of people, because that shit can change.
Of course it can. We don't know what happened. Somebody can be hurt by that, and we can add some more pieces, and you may bump us up to 12-5. Who knows?
I doubt that.
I know. We'll see what happens. But listen, man, love you, bro, as always, man.
Love you, bro.
Love you, man. We'll see you next time, okay?
All right.
Thanks, brother.